Hello and welcome to today's Medicinal Monday. I'm Dr. Susanna Alter,
And it's Dr. Ben here.
and we're both naturopathic doctors who empower people in healing themselves with whole food, plant-based nutrition, and mind-body medicine.
We hope you're all digesting your Thanksgiving weekend well. Hopefully, it was nourishing in body, mind, and soul. And that's what we're all about, right? Staying nourished. And this week's topic on Medicinal Monday is about those times when we don't optimally nourish ourselves, when we do indulge in those quote unquote junk food items, which are, of course, different for each individual, but how we can relate to that, not only mentally, emotionally, but also how we can relate to it physically to support our bodies in cleansing, clearing, detoxifying, processing optimally, and coming back into their optimal resilient state. Because we all kind of, whether it's plant-based pizza with a little bit of oil, or whether it's fried chicken, or whether it's a donut, or whether it's banana bread, like we all kind of indulge in our own ways that are healthy and nourishing, but then maybe we'll get a stomach ache. So what can we do about that? That's what we're going to be talking about today.
Great. I love this topic so much. And let's just dive right in.
Yeah, there's a few things, and I think that we should start at the kind of most important point if we're considering this downstream of events, and that is bringing our body into an optimal state when we are indulging. What good is it to indulge in French fries or pizza or cake or whatever if we're tense and stressful and criticizing ourselves? If we're going to indulge, if we're going to enjoy, then we should be in joy. We should be in the present moment. And what that does for us not only brings us into a state of enjoyment, but also brings our physiology into a state of peace, activating the parasympathetic branch of the autonomic nervous system so that these heavier foods, quote unquote, can be processed, digested, and absorbed and moved through our system more gracefully.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting that last week our topic for Medicinal Monday was on the topic. It was cheating. Do
Right.
you cheat? And we talked about how we don't really like the vocabulary of having cheat days or whatever, but really, shifting kind of the perspective to what eating habits do fit into your healthy healing lifestyle. And yes, maybe there is some whole food plant-based banana bread that comes in from time to time, or maybe it even includes having the french fries once in a whatever it is, but you get to decide what your healthy lifestyle includes. And so I think the very first thing and most important thing is also not beating ourselves up if we do indulge in the banana bread or the whatever, and not punishing ourselves the next day with restrictive
Or the next moment.
habits or the next moment.
Mhm.
Right. And so I think that's a really important thing, and we're going to talk about some really healthy steps that we can take after the fact that don't include punishing ourselves or beating ourselves up.
Yeah, this is a good segue from last week when we were talking about cheat days. And I think, long story short, like we ought to, and it's best for all of us to kind of seek that healthy middle ground, whatever that might be, and not give ourselves these big stressful swings, fasting and then binging and then that sort of thing. But life happens, right? So we can be resilient and we can support ourselves. The second thing that we can do, besides not judging ourselves, the next thing that can be helpful, and this is kind of if you've got a little pre-thought and you're planning. And honestly, Suzanne and I, we've done this before when we would indulge more around the holidays or something like that. Digestive enzymes and or bitters, digestive bitters and or enzymes can be helpful to prime the digestive system and give the digestive system a little bit more strength to break down and process whatever it might be, whether it be meat, dairy, animal products, or gluten, or more fats, or whatever it might
Or
be,
more food.
or more food in general.
Yeah.
But of course, the whole world of digestive enzymes is very complex and nuanced, and there's different enzymes, and that's maybe a topic for another day, even though we generally don't recommend digestive enzyme supplementation. But in that kind of symptom management, once in a blue moon sort of thing, it can help your body break down and digest all of those kind of heavier foods that would otherwise put a little bit of a tax on the system.
Right. Yeah. Digestive enzymes and digestive bitters, they're actually things that we include in our quote unquote natural emergency kit natural first aid kit, because sometimes we kind of just find ourselves in a scenario where, oh shoot, I ate this thing and I didn't mean to eat it.
Yeah.
And in those cases, it can also be helpful to help the digestive system break down those foods.
Yeah. So ideally, like I said, you take them before the meal, but if you take them with the meal or right after the meal, they can also be helpful and beneficial. But what's really helpful or beneficial is the third thing, which is activated charcoal. And charcoal has kind of become a little bit of a trendy supplement in the world of detox. And the way that it works is it mechanically, physically neutralizes and absorbs the toxins and inflammatory agents that are in our digestive system. So if we eat toxic stuff, if we have, in the worst case scenario, if we have like a gastroenteritis or a gastrointestinal toxin that we ingest, consume, activated charcoal can help neutralize that and alleviate ourselves of the gastrointestinal symptoms. But also activated charcoal kind of binds to and absorbs other nutrients. And so we actually don't want to eat it every single day. We don't want to take it every single day, especially with food, because then that's kind of competing with our ability to get the nutrients, to get the what we want and what we need from our food. But if we do have, once again, a heavier meal, we know that we're ingesting more inflammatory ingredients or toxic ingredients. Again, giving ourselves some grace and compassion. But on the other side of that, we can take some activated charcoal so that we can kind of absorb and soak up any of those kind of inflammatory byproducts.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. It's another one we have in our first aid kit.
Yeah. And just to emphasize once again, these, if we find ourselves doing these sort of things on a regular basis, we might want to reconsider where we're going in terms of our orientation and the health that we want and deserve. But in the rare and appropriate scenario, yeah, these kind of things can help.
Right. It's like, yeah, if we start using these as crutches regularly, then it essentially takes away the vitality and resiliency of our digestive system. If we're taking enzymes every single day, then we're not allowing our pancreas to produce adequate digestive enzymes for the situations where we're not taking endogenous supplements.
And if we're taking activated charcoal every single day, then we're going to actually the charcoal is going to absorb the nutrients from our food, and we're going to be malnourished. Mm-hmm. So we need to be mindful of that.
Definitely.
And the fourth thing on the list here is super hydration. The topic of hydration is huge. Oh my gosh. And really, I mean, washing everything down with a nice glass of mineralized, optimally hydrating water will take you a long way. And what that, of course, does is it supports the liver, it supports the kidneys, and kind of flushing stuff out. Mm-hmm. But in addition to water, which, yes, we should be drinking water all the time, there's other what we call super hydrating kind of beverages, like green juices, whether it's celery juice or cucumber juice or some combination thing that you buy at the grocery store. Those are great. Herbal teas, lemon water, these kind of things, right?
Right. Yeah, I actually recently saw a post somewhere on Instagram. I don't know who it was from, but they said like, let's turn in, or let's exchange the post Thanksgiving punishment for the post Thanksgiving nourishment. And I was like, yes,
that's what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about here. And I've actually noticed that in my body. I used to be someone who would punish myself after a big, heavy meal. And now, after our delicious Thanksgiving dinner where we did indulge, we had a plant-based ice cream cake that your mom made, and a raw vegan carrot cake. I mean, we definitely indulged.
Mhm.
And what's interesting is that I found myself the next morning just like, oh, I can't wait to have my hydration. I can't wait to have my smoothie.
Yep.
It was as if my body was really calling for that extra nutrition to just help metabolize all of the other food that I ate the night before. And that's the truth of really how those nourishing foods help us to detoxify, is that they provide the vitamins, the minerals, the hydration, the fiber, the phytonutrients that we do need to bring the body back into balance.
Right. And that brings us to point number 5. The fifth thing that we can do is just refocus on our nutrient dense and biodiverse, hopefully organic fruits and vegetables as soon as we can, as soon as what makes sense, right? If we're traveling, maybe we don't have full access to our blender, Vitamix, or produce department, or whatever it is, we just do our best. But once we flood our system with those nutrient dense fruits and vegetables, we recreate the biodiversity within the gut, the natural resilience that we have, and then of course flood our liver with those nutrients that promote all of those phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification pathways in our liver, as well as our kidneys and other organ systems, right? But, like we always say, our focus, our goal is really to live a detoxifying lifestyle. And 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, 10 days out of the year, 20 days out of the year, 50 days out of the year, that doesn't have to set us back. That doesn't have to throw us off course. We can always come back to our nutrient dense whole plant foods. And again, we just do our best. But I love that post post
Thanksgiving nourishment.
or post Christmas nourishment, post
Mhm.
Hanukkah nourishment.
Mhm.
We don't have to go into other extreme of punishment. And hopefully nourishment doesn't feel like it's punishment, right?
Right.
Hopefully nourishment doesn't feel like it's punishment. If it does, then maybe we'd benefit from doing some sort of like cleanse where we're refocusing and reestablishing a healthy relationship with real food, real nourishment.
Right. Yeah, and then your last point here is also bringing in some healthy movement, maybe some walking. Also, not coming from that mindset of, oh, I've got to run off the calories
Yeah.
or whatever, I've got to punish myself, but just knowing that that movement does help with the circulation of the lymphatic system, that helps with the detoxification.
And really what I was going for here, walking, moving, sweating, hydrating, and just kind of getting back on board helps our body. Like so many people just benefit from having a good bowel movement.
Oh yeah.
That's really that's really what I was
that was your point.
my point was like to promote like right back into regularity in terms of bowel movements, in terms of excretion through our kidneys, because sometimes when we have kind of normal, whatever normal is, and then we go into the holiday season, which is abnormal is going to cause a change of our bowel habits, a change of all of our systems. But getting back into bowel regularity for sure is a good sign that we're kind of getting back into regularity as a whole.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I love it. I love it. And yeah, I mean, just to kind of reiterate here, really what we're talking about is, of course, we want to shoot for a detoxifying lifestyle, a balanced lifestyle where we're feeling like, we don't have to have these days where we're kind of re-equilibrating. But the truth is that, we're humans and there are holidays, and sometimes we do want to indulge in a healthy way, in a way that feels good to us. And the beauty of it all is that our body gives us such great feedback to help us stay on track. And, what indulging was for me, or, what it was for me 5 years ago is so different compared to what it is now. And I find that the body's messages have just kind of nudged me along in this direction of more balance, more equilibrium, more just consistent detoxifying living, so that, like the day after, I mean, I didn't feel like I even needed any detox at all after Thanksgiving.
No.
It
I
was
mean,
great.
if we had the carrot cake and the ice cream cake, and we didn't, our Thanksgiving was whole food plant based, like
Yeah.
no oil, no salt, no sugar, no nonsense, right? So
But it still felt special.
it sure did, because we had so much awesome stuff going on.
Mhm.
But the fact is, like, yeah, we could absolutely enjoy that dinner every single day. Maybe with the ice cream cake and the carrot cake, our bodies would start sending us the message like, okay, maybe like take it easy on these, fat rich, like it's essentially, if you've heard us talk before, it's the combination of the high carbohydrate dense foods with the high fat rich foods, right? So we just got to be mindful of that scenario. But just to recap, the 6 things to support your body in kind of coming back into its natural resilience, detoxifying, quote unquote, from those indulgences over the holidays or whenever, for that matter. The first one, being in a state of peace when you're eating, enjoying your food, bringing the body into that parasympathetic state. The second thing is digestive enzymes, digestive bitters, these kind of digestive support, so that your body can break down and put to use those, heavier foods, if you will. The third thing is activated charcoal to kind of quench and neutralize any sort of toxins or inflammatory agents in the food. And then the fourth thing, super hydration, flooding the body with mineral rich hydrating sources, green juices, lemon water, herbal teas, etc. Refocusing, number 5, refocusing on those nutrient dense whole foods, again, creating that biodiversity in the gut, that natural resilience of the digestive system. And then finally, moving and living the detoxifying lifestyle, hopefully getting back into bowel regularity, so that we can, be excreting and be, back to our resilient selves.
Yes. Yes, and we've got some comments here from our live viewers. Post yellow light nourishment. Yes, I love that. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, or red light, yellow light, wherever you are.
Yeah. Any comments on ionized water?
I don't really know what you mean by ionized water, but feel free to elaborate in the comments and we'll do our best to respond. But yeah, just a reminder for those of you tuning in live, come over to our Alter Health Locals community. You can stay more connected. That's where we're shifting the Facebook group onto locals, alterhealth.locals.com. And we're creating some locals only content, including meal guides, etc. And the other thing is, for those of you listening to the podcast recording, feel free to join that as well. Also, feel free to tune in live on the YouTube stream, youtube.com/alterhealth.
Yeah, for those who are wanting to have more in-depth support in how to reverse disease through lifestyle medicine, through whole food plant-based eating, check out our Thrive on Plants program. We actually have a special deal that's ending tonight.
Just a few more hours. So if you're listening to this, you might have a chance if it's still November 29th.
Yes. So we hope to see you in our Thrive on Plants community. Hope to see you at the next community call. And until then, we will see you at our next Medicinal Monday next week. Same time, same place.
Peace and love, you guys.
Bye for now.